You know, it really makes me laugh when people think that they are an oppressed minority in Canada, like a lot of Muslims, like Mohammed Faki, who owns many businesses, who owns Paramount Foods in Canada, has tons, he's a millionaire, yet he is being oppressed by people like Kevin J. Johnston that he has to go and sue him for defamation. He accused him of losing a deal that cost him like $750,000, as well as his son being bullied at school, which is nonsense. The video that he's talking about only got like 1,000 views or less, but he's saying this is what screwed up one of his deals overseas with some company or something, right? Just ridiculous charges. And then you have the judges siding with this guy. Now, I'm not a lawyer. I don't know whether Kevin J. Johnston went through all of the steps necessary or something like that. Maybe he didn't. I have no idea. But the fact that this went through to begin with lets you know that these people in Canada have disproportionate amounts of power for the amount of people that they represent. You know, we always talk about white privilege, white this, but Kevin J. Johnston doesn't have any privilege. He just had his YouTube removed today too. So if you want to find him, go on bitchute.com. I'll put the link in the description below for his account on Bitchute. So go there, subscribe to him, because he's probably not going to get his YouTube channel back, right? The people that want him gone are not going to let him back on, most likely. Maybe one day, maybe he can make a new account and stay underneath the radar for long enough before they try to ban him again. But it's the amount of adversity this guy's facing right now is pretty incredible. They're trying to make an example out of him because he is a smaller kind of content creator at this point in time. It's trying to send a message to the rest of us, that the people that have 1 to 2,000 to 10,000 to 15,000 subs, say, hey, even though you're pretty small, you don't have too much reach at the moment, we're still not going to ignore you. We're gonna make sure we punish you too. We're gonna make sure we shut you people up too. So this is trying to get people to censor themselves, to self-censor themselves by going after Kevin J. Johnston and making him pay $2.5 million. Now, he said he's going to appeal the case, which I hope he does. And he's saying that, he's got lots of evidence to show that these people are, doing perjury, right? But like I said, I'm not a lawyer. I have no idea. But I hope he does have a case, because it does look pretty fishy to me. And considering the way the RCMP has acted during the whole SNC-Lavalin case, during the whole recent debacle with them with the Mark Norman trial, I don't trust them, especially the prosecution of Canada and the judicial system of Canada. I don't trust them either. None of these people are to be trusted. A lot of these people are activist judges, and it seems like they bought everything this guy said hook, line, and center. Wasn't skeptical whatsoever on it, and just was like, okay, yeah, Kevin J. Johnston is a threat to society. We need to remove him because he's exposing stuff about these people, right? And he was also being charged, I'm pretty sure, for a movie or a documentary he has yet to release. So how does that make any sense? How does he lose money? How does his kids get bullied for a documentary about, I think, the Rohingya Muslims or something? I think it was called Rohingya Lies. I can't really remember. But how did that do anything if it wasn't even released, right? There's a lot of fishy shit. But like I said, I don't know everything about the case. But now I see today when I look, his YouTube channel is removed. So, that go support him on Bitchute. We need to support people who do get banned. And we also need to start migrating over to new platforms like Gab, like Minds, like a Bitchute, because we're not going to get somebody who comes and saves us. We're not going to get a savior. Trump isn't going to do anything. He's not going to regulate the internet. He's not going to do anything. He's been in office for 3 years almost already, and he has yet to do anything. So what makes you think that he's going to do something in the future? Maybe I'm wrong, but in the time being, the best thing that people can do, the only thing that people can do in the present, is to go over to other platforms and start to use them. Now, that's not to say stop using Twitter, stop using Facebook and all this other stuff entirely, right? You can still use these platforms to get reach, to get people informed, but also try to migrate these people over to new platforms and try to inform them, the issues with monopolies. I think most people understand inherently the problems with monopolies, so it's not too difficult to convince them to start to support other people. Now, the media is going to do the guilt by association, like, oh, if you're on Gab, sorry, you're practically a Nazi, right? But we're I think we can work through that eventually. But like I said, we do need to start moving to new platforms. Get off of Patreon, go to Subscriber Star. We complain about monopolies all the time, but we oftentimes help create them. And then we're like, government, come in and help fix this situation. But I see a lot of people getting banned from Twitter or Facebook, and then you see Andrew Torba saying to them right when they get banned, saying like, hey guys, come on to Gab if you want. We're not going to ban you. We're not going to censor you. And they're like, oh, I don't want to go on that echo chamber, blah, 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 right? I don't want to be on Gab or this platform, yada, yada, yada. It's like, man, what are you doing? Like, just at least go on there. If you build it, they will come. If you start to populate these sites, then other people will start to populate them. And other news organizations, journalists, etc., will be forced to join them because they'll have to join them once they become a viable competitor. But just assuming that we'll never have competition is playing into these monopolies' hands as well. A lot of these guys want to be regulated. Facebook is saying he wants to be regulated. Now, he doesn't want to be broken up, but he does want to be regulated. And even the Facebook co-founder was saying, we need to break up Facebook and all these companies. But if you read the whole article at the end, he's like, but we need to make sure hate speech is removed from these platforms. We got to make sure all social media platforms keep this hateful rhetoric off of our platforms. So that's what they're going to do when they do regulate shit. They're going to insert something like that in there. Be like, okay, you can have different social media platforms, but you're all going to have to follow these same exact rules, right? And maybe they'll say you can't ban anybody, but it depends. Maybe one day they'll get hate speech laws and be like, okay, well, you can't ban anybody to the government standards. And a lot of people probably won't be up to the government's standards. So there will still be people being censored and stuff. And, it's through adversity that people create new things. It's only through pressure that you create a diamond. And Gab and some of these platforms are coming up with new innovative technologies to combat some of this censorship. Like, look at Dissenter. You can go on there and you can now comment on any page on the internet. Doesn't matter if YouTube shuts down the comment section to make it so nobody can comment. Well, you can still comment on Dissenter and have conversations with people on there. So these types of technologies are going to keep rising and keep replacing things. It's going to be like an arms race. So don't get too antsy, don't get too impatient and rush to the government to fix things, because they'll probably backfire on you in the end. If anything, promote to have these companies subsidies removed, and that will at least be a start and deregulating some things, right, to make it easier for people to compete, to create alternative platforms. But nobody necessarily wants to do that. But going back to Kevin J. Johnston, it's terrible what's happening to him. We need to support him any possible way we can, with your words, with your money, whatever, because 2.5 million, that must, if I had to face that amount of money and charges, I would be freaking out. Honestly, and people think that there is no risk for some people on YouTube to start talking about this type of stuff and exposing it. But as we see, there is a risk. Increasingly, there is more and more of a risk, especially in Europe and more in Canada, especially we get more hate speech laws, etc. But that's all I pretty much had to say. If you like my content, subscribe, have a good day, and like I said, help out Kevin J. Johnston and subscribe to him on Bitchute. Take it easy, guys.